I sound like my mother here. I'm so sorry. So here it goes. You need to do it before the night it's due. Okay, I cannot tell you the amount of students who contact me saying, I haven't quite got it finished. And I'm like, when did you start? Oh, last night. Okay, that's never going to work. Okay, so my tip, get in early. And look, we all like to write at the last minute. Of course we do. We can't help ourselves. But if you've at least done the thinking before, you've got a really good chance. So keep up with the coursework. Keep up with the reading. Keep taking notes, doing all of that stuff. Because even if the worst comes to worst and you haven't started the assessment, you've at least done the work. You do not want to be sitting there at 11 o'clock when the piece is due at 11:59 on LMS going, oh my God, I still don't know the answer to that question, let alone how I'm going to write the answer to that question. So my tips for approaching assessment are, and I really do sound like my mother, preparation. Sorry, it's really old and cliche, but it's the best way.
Instructions very, very carefully. For most assignments, you will get an assessment task sheet, and that task sheet should clearly outline what's expected of you. And read it very thoroughly, because sometimes there are very specific things that are required, all the way down to they might expect you to have a particular font size, okay? Hopefully not too many subjects do that, but you never know. So sometimes there are very specific instructions. Make sure that you read those instructions. If anything is unclear, you can always email your tutor or your lecturer, and they can explain that further for you if you don't understand. So read the instructions carefully. I would also ask to see if there are any previous examples of this assignment. So when it comes to an exam, it might be that there's some past papers available that you can attempt, or if the assignment was done the previous year, you might be able to have a look at some of the other students' work that have done this. It might not be exactly the same question, but it might be quite similar, and you can see how students have structured that. Ask for examples if there are any, if you're not quite sure about how to go about it. Okay, so my next advice would be to always plan your work. So have a plan about how you're going to go about doing your assignment. So you understand what's required of you first, and secondly, you set a plan about how you're going to go about doing that. I like to create mind maps of all the information that I'm going to have in my assignment, and all the different little headings that I want and what research I want to do under those headings. And that's how I start my plan. Okay, so the next thing I would say is research. Make sure you know how to do good quality research. A lot of the time these days that's online. Making sure you know how to navigate around online journals is probably one of the most important things that you can learn to do. So know how to look up journals in databases using the university's library. We're very, very lucky at the university to have access to basically journals across the entire world.
Take time to write the answer and then walk away. If you can leave it alone for a day or so, give yourself that time just so that you've got a bit of headspace to then come back and check that you've actually answered that assessment task in the way that your lecturer or subject coordinator has asked you to. And if you get to a point where you are not quite sure what it is that that task is asking you, do go and contact the lecturer or the subject coordinator or your tutor, depending on the way that your class is structured, because that's what they're there for. They're there to help you with those things and to clarify and to make sure that you can answer those questions to the best of your ability.